Hello, friends. This is Sam Chaney reporting for Weaponized News. Today, February 17th, 2026. Thank you for joining us on this Tuesday edition of Weaponized News. Apologies for the late start. We had technical issues sorting out the stream here with our esteemed guest, William Ramsey. I'm going to cut all the intros and we're just going to get right to it because we have a lot to cover on today's episode. MKUltra, Epstein, and Occult. He's an expert. I mean, with all the interviews this guy's done, William Ramsey, author of Prophet of Evil, Abomination, Children of the Beast, Global Death Cult, Smiley Face Killers. We'll have to get an update on the Smiley Face Killers as well from William. On his X bio, it reads, William Ramsey investigates top 0.5% of podcasts in the world. So he's getting it out there, and that's good. We need everybody to get it out there, and everybody should be freaking out, losing their minds about all this. It is the Chinese Lunar New Year, year of the fire horse today. Let's bring on William and get to all these sort of details. How you doing, William?
I'm great. Thanks for having me, Sam. Great to be with you again.
Hey, happy fire horse, year of the fire horse, Chinese Lunar New Year today.
It's going to be like riding a horse on fire, that's for sure. There's no question about it. So it seems appropriate for the name of this year.
Sure. William, before we get started on all the recent Epstein news, what is going on in Smiley Face Killers case that I know you've been covering extensively?
It's still happening. So all this stuff is still ongoing. The people are still kind of dropping. There's like been 30 dead bodies in Lady Bird Lake, which is Austin, Texas, which is kind of a newer zone. Usually people thought of it as like a more mainly urban or like event that happened in Boston, New York, or Chicago. So it's reached, and it's kind of taken a different permutation in people's understanding, because now people are writing documentaries, YouTubers are covering it, have gotten millions of views. So the public interest has definitely risen over time, but it's still a phenomenon that's going on, and it's weird too. As Texas has grown and become more cosmopolitan, there's more cases, and there's a number of cases of both men and women being unalived and found in the bayous around Houston. So it's become, I saw it as very like regional when I first started researching it, and now it's like international. And there's been cases involving transsexuals, which is also in the news much more, is this transsexual violence. And I think that there's an overlap. I didn't know this at the time when I first restarted researching it 10 years ago. But it seems like there's an overlap between transsexuals and this phenomenon called the Smiley Face Killers.
Wow, I don't think we're on Rumble live. And that's usually our biggest audience. I don't know what happened there. Yeah, it's telling me Rumble not streaming. Let's see if we can reconnect. Well, thanks for that update about the Smiley Face. Do you feel like it's do we think it's organized, random, copycats?
I think it's organized. I think that there are different. It's kind of like a fetish kind of thing. I think it's like, if you have an interest in like miniature cars or something, you meet up with people, and this is the really dark side of that. Is this type of like BDSM type thing? It's almost like an Epstein underground, like a secretive underground. So I do think that it's not just one individual. It's people kind of sharing stuff either through FetLife or through underground things, or, red rooms or things like that. So I think it's super dark.
Man, we are in a super dark time, I guess. Hey, year of the fire horse here in China.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've researched almost 500 cases, so it's definitely, these are unsuspecting victims. They don't see it coming. And the attitude, I think, of the perpetrators for the smiley face killings is very similar to the attitude of these Epstein network people, where human beings are almost like objectified to such an extreme that they're not even perceived as like another human being or something, where you can just use and dispose of them. I think the Epstein network was like that as well. Is like that. It's still around. So just because Epstein's gone, it didn't just like, they would like you to believe that this network dissipated or fell apart, and that's just not the case.
Our intelligence agencies have all the blackmail data. The NSA, the FBI, they have it all. And to think anything different would be naive.
Sure would. I think they're really holding a lot. I think that the drop that happened on January 30th is an example of how much information they have that they aren't sharing with the public. That's why we pay taxes, is to kind of keep safe and be informed, and that's just not happening. So I think this
only
Epstein,
2%, according to reports, 2% of the data they have has been released by the DOJ, and they doxed a bunch of victims in their release as well. It's just ridiculous. And then the whole time they say, oh, we're caring about the victims. That's why we have to do all these redactions. And it was very sloppy. And I see the DOJ, lawyers from the DOJ all over, and politicians crying about, we need to move on from this. We have limited resources, and we need to investigate current crimes. And it's like, no, this is the crime of the century, of our lifetimes right here.
For sure. There's I think tens of thousands of victims. I think the victims that come forth are the ones that are really in a right place and time in their lives where they do want to. But I think there's people who moved on, had careers, their wives, their moms, and they're just like, it's the same thing with Cosby. It happened with Cosby, where people just moved on, like, okay, something bad happened to me. I'm trying to put my life back together. I think it's the same with the Epstein network. There's people who don't speak English. There's people from Eastern Europe. So it is the crime of the century. It's a crime. There's just so many crimes, and it's just exhausting to read the Epstein files because there's so many crimes. So when Kash Patel gets up and says, if I found something, I'd do something, he's just completely lying straight to the face. I think he perjured himself in front of Congress. And then Bondi's whole distraction about the Dow is just absurd. It's absolutely absurd. So the evidence is going to come out and make them look bad. It's going to lead up to the whole administration. And it's already kind of, I think the right is fracturing and splintering. Like, who's going to go along with like, oh, we got to fight for the midterms, or who's going to like, what about the kids? What about, I mean, the one of the myths that they just, I think they like, and you said there's 2% of the documents. Like, it's changed so many times. Like, we've dropped them all, but we kept 3 million back because there's like death, torture, and child porn in here. Like, whoa. So that's the stuff you're saying you're not prosecuting, but you're smart enough to keep it out because it contains death, torture, and child porn. Like, that's all criminal stuff. I mean, it's just like they're just blatantly lying to us. But like, how many documents are there? Because there's so many documents in this one that are damning.
Yeah, mainstream yesterday, William, we played the clip, reported 2% of the data that they allegedly have. I forget how many terabytes. They have 14, 15, 30. I don't even remember how many. They got terabytes upon terabytes of data that has not been released. So, and the stuff they did release is horrific. So imagine what they're holding, straight up snuff films that I know you talk about, straight up, blowing the kid's head off. I wouldn't doubt that at all.
Yeah, I mean, I read one thing into this morning where I was covering this stuff, and it involved the kind of gang abuse of a 5-year-old child. Like, this is how dark it is. It's super dark. So this whole notion that they're like 14, 15, 16, 17, and they're just of childbearing age is a lie. And there's babies missing. They tried to
soft pedal it, barely legal. She was 17 and one day till she was 18. No, right. These are little kids.
They're little prepubescent kids.
Yeah.
And he's pictured with them. There's a lot of pictures that have come out of him like fondling little children, like prepubescent children. So it's a complete lie. Like, people should be outraged. And there's babies missing. There's testimony. One of the interesting things that I've learned in the last couple weeks, I've tried to read as much as possible.
Wait. 5 years ago, we'd say, hey, there's this dark satanic cult and they're eating babies and drinking their blood, you sound crazy. Now, like, people are coming onto that idea and going, wait a minute, they really are doing this in their occult practices and rituals.
It sure seems like that. I don't have there is stuff in this document that I was pretty stunned. This conversation between Bannon, who everybody kind of knows, the war room.
He's the great right-wing populist, make America great. William, you can't jump on board with that. Why are you not wrapped in an American flag right now? Come on.
Well said. But like, he's talking to Epstein, and they're talking about
he was going to remake Epstein's public image after he was a convicted sex offender.
And Bannon's acknowledging that he's a pedo, you know, like, let's move past this. Like, they're trying to restructure and reframe it for their idiot base, but I don't know how many people are going to buy it. But he's really involved with Epstein, like, talking, and they're talking a lot of bad things about Trump behind his back and all these other people, and calling him, like, he uses this weird term I'm barely ever heard before. But what I was trying to get to is that they talk about the Ninth Circle, which is a super, super dark satanic society associated with the Catholic Church and like old kind of Catholic European families and stuff. And they went right to it. I mean, it's such a strange statement. But if you just look up the Ninth Circle or Kevin Annett, Annett, I don't know if you're aware of his work from Canada. He's done work on that. So when I saw it, I was just like, they know this stuff. And he knows a lot of mind control. So you titled this like episode with me about MKUltra. There's this stuff like, you're shocked to go, they know about Mesmer. Bannon's calling Epstein the new Mesmer, like both the light and the dark. Like, really, like, he becomes almost like a dark kingpin figure. Epstein does.
Bannon calls him a wizard.
Wizard, right?
Calls him a wizard.
And the cannibalism stuff is real. Like, there's all these references to jerky and things like that, and shrimp and weird foods. Grape soda, which I've learned is gang rape. So, like, hey, come on over for grape soda. And there's there's like a creepy doctor that Epstein talks to, and I forgot Fish is his last name. And they're like, oh yeah, the kid, something's coming by, and Epstein goes goyim, which is a really derisive term for non-Jews. And
they're openly, Jewish supremacist in there, calling everybody goyim.
A lot of goyim from Epstein, straight from goyim. But one of the interesting interactions between Epstein and this doctor is he goes goyim, and the other guy comes right back and goes grape soda. You know, so he's talking about gang raping the goyim. Like, that's their mentality, is like, when I was talking about like the dehumanization thing. And there's no Jewish girls who are victims. I can't even find one. So, and there's non-Jews who are the perps in the network, like Gates and Staley and stuff. But there are no Jews in this network. They're like predatory towards European women and poor women here in the United States.
They were talking about how when the color revolution, the orange revolution in Ukraine in 2014 was going to be a great opportunity.
That's right. And there are a bunch of references to Ukraine. It's a opportunity for money and also trafficking. And there's all kinds of weird trafficking stuff going on out of Ukraine that are tied to Pam Bondi. This guy Frankel, who is she's close to him and was close to him in when she was she's in that position for a reason, in my opinion. But when she was the head of the Florida Attorney General, she's friends with this guy Frankel, who what they do is they like they're predators on vulnerable kids in Eastern Europe when it was all going down. And this one guy, Frankel, had a child care facility or something in Ukraine. So, and that provides them easy access. And there's all this like stuff in the files.
Well, it looks to me like the White House is continuing it. Melania Trump has a campaign of saving Ukrainian children from Russia. It looks like they're openly through the White House trafficking children, and we're supposed to turn a blind eye. It hits different now after all this. You're not just humanitarian philanthropists that have a big heart. There's something going on with all you nuts
Yeah,
out
they're
there, man.
philanthropaths is one of my favorite terms. It's like
Bannon said, I'm just a humble filmmaker. It's like, no, dude, you're all up in the conspiracy here now.
yes,
You're
yeah.
not just a humble filmmaker that was working with Epstein and didn't know nothing.
Yeah, no, he's playing coy and dumb. I mean, he knew so much. And it's really interesting too, because he's talking to him right when, yeah, like I think one of the watermarks, or what I see as a perceive in this whole saga now, is that the events that happened that really brought Epstein back into the public light were when Julie K. Brown published her 3-part series in the Miami Herald. And that put Epstein back under the spotlight. That was late 2018. So Bannon's working with them while all this stuff is happening. And the firestorm of like curiosity among the alternate media is growing and growing and growing. So like, what's this guy doing? Who's this? And who's his friends? And then Epstein would be dead. I don't believe he got out, in my opinion. And I'll tell you why. I can show some documents. But I think they killed him. They got him into jail to kill him, much like Jean-Luc Brunel.
They put that killer in as a cellmate.
Yeah, Tartaglione was his name. A huge guy who was a killer. Like, he just got convicted last year for killing 4 people in a drug burn type of operation.
Who straight up murderer that hated child molesters, and that's your cellmate, Epstein, right?
He would call him a pedophile. Like in the show, in the records that came out, the FBI records, he's like, yeah, I don't like you. You're a pedophile. Tartaglione, when he was getting his roids, he is just roided. He looks like the Hulk, like an Italian version of the Hulk. He has just huge muscles all over his body. It's just incredible. And there's like some of the FBI stuff that's been released is like Epstein keeps saying, I'm not suicidal. I'm not suicidal. I'm not suicidal. And so he keeps saying this all the time. And then he comes back from court like the day before he dies, and they hand him a piece of paper and say, sign this. And it says it's an admission that he's suicidal. So they're trying to get him to sign a document that's like going to validate his suicide. And he's like, I'm not suicidal. That's in the records. So like he's denying it, and then he dies by supposedly suicide the next day. So anyway, I mean, there's just so much here to talk about, Sam. That's just incredible. They've lied to us about everything. But I think in time, they're not going to call it Epstein or the Epstein files. They're going to call it the Epstein network. Because what all these 3 million files have shown is all the other people involved who knew and kept quiet. Lutnick, Trump. Like, it's just incredible. Like, they're all intertwined for years, 10 years. And this seems to be the hobby and habit of the kind of predatory capitalistic elite in New York and Manhattan and some of these other big cities, is that they treat other people like trash, like disposable trash. And that's how they get their kicks, is sex and abuse and belittling. Like, you should see the rules that came out in this new drop of what you're allowed to do at Epstein's mansion, you know? It's like, you always talk to Jeff as Mr. Epstein and never look him in the eye. Like, there's all kinds of things that they're just totally belittling. It's really incredible. It's just too much. I mean, these people are too much. They're not egalitarians, that's for sure.
So you think Trump's all up in there? Trump's part of all this, and his whole excuse, because that came out when way back. I remember the narrative was set that once Trump didn't know any better, and once he found out that Epstein was a bad guy, he kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago and wouldn't be associated with him anymore. I think all that's just BS, fake, flimsy at this point cover story.
100%. I totally 100% agree with you. I've been posting, it's coming to me in waves. So I didn't, I'm starting to get a bigger picture. But when I first was finding stuff, I was just posting it on X because they're not censoring me. So if your listeners are interested, they could just see all my X posts from January 30th. But I just posted something today that showed that Epstein is talking to his PI, his private investigator. And he said, what should we do about Virginia? She was the most vocal of all the victims and the most litigious, really. To me, she's a real hero. I think they killed her too. They wouldn't disclose her cause of death. Like, and then supposedly the cause of death came out. She was shot in the head. Women just don't do. It's so rare for gun violence to be associated with women. It's a very rare. It does happen, but like Eileen Warnos or whatever one. But this one document that came out is like, what should we do about Virginia? Epstein's talking to his PI before I call Trump. So like he's trying to figure out how to solve this before he gets Donald on the phone in 2011, right? So this whole thing of like we got rid of him in the late 90s is like it's just bull. And Lutnick's lying too. Lutnick literally signed like documents, legal documents, very sophisticated, stock ownership documents.
Lutnick said all over the place, oh, I took my family to Epstein Island. How's this guy not publicly shamed out of existence?
Yeah, he shouldn't be working at all.
He's our Commerce Secretary, for God's sake. Cantor Fitzgerald, he's all up in 9/11 as well, profiteering of 9/11. This guy's just that one mask. Did you see the mask? It looks
it looks just like him.
Looks like they got a Howard Lutnick mask, thanks to Blue Anon. I saw posted about that. It looks like a Howard Lutnick mask they were using in some type of trauma-based mind control program in the dentist chairs.
So good, man. I'm glad you recognize that. Anyway, he's like deeply tied in with him in business, spending millions of dollars on these corporations. And at this point, it's only been 2 weeks, but there's like a whole forensic accounting.
Lutnick is Trump's handler, right? It looks pretty obvious to me at this point. Every time you see Trump on the plane, when he's making important statements, there's Lutnick right there looking over his shoulder.
Like, where's the Secretary of State or where's something else? Why is Lutnick always there? And actually, it kind of coincides or corresponds with Biden. Always had that Secretary of State, Antony
Blinken. He always had Blinken right there,
always behind him, just like looking like. And then he would like Blinken would like look behind Biden and his buddies, and they'd be like, oh, like you could just tell there was something not right. In the Epstein documents, they say Biden was switched out in 2019.
I saw that. I don't know about that. But
well, you have to just accept that's what they're saying. I don't know what the truth is.
Trump says the whole Biden presidency is null and void because he used the auto pen.
Well, there's somebody else was running the government. It wasn't Biden, dude. Somebody else was running that administration. So that's a whole nother concern. I think it's really important. It's important to look back. Like all the stuff that started with Ukraine.
DHS comes out and tells us 500,000 illegal alien children were trafficked into this country under the Biden administration, and no one's in trouble.
Right. No, it's totally outrageous. It's just incredible. We're just paying taxes to pedophiles, criminal pedophiles at this point. I think that's really the truth.
Are more people waking up? It feels like they are. Even normies are going, wait a minute.
I'm seeing something that's changed, at least in my personal circle, which I can't say is huge, but family members, my children, in-laws, people like that, they're looking real leery, and they're like, whoa, this is really different. So before, when they just be busy with their day-to-day lives and maybe take on some alternate stories and stuff like that, but they're like, whoa, this is really heavy. So I think the younger generation, they go, this is why we just went through all this shit for the last 10 years. Like they're realizing it. Like you and I are probably a little older. I'm 57. But like we've been, through this stuff for a while. But I think these younger kids are like, this is really it. We have a super corrupt government. Super corrupt society, really. I mean, that's what the whole thing about the network and seeing all these other players, Bannon, Gates, Lutnick, and all these other guys, is they're all corrupt and they're all in there. And it's like the correlation to Pizzagate. Like my kids don't know Pizzagate. People like you probably know Pizzagate and see the correlations and correspondences and similarities. Like
it's never been, all that came out of Podesta emails from WikiLeaks. None of that has ever been discredited. So it's 100% accurate, and no one got in trouble for that. That's what actually won Trump, in my opinion, the 2016 election against Hillary, when all that came out, because he was going to lose to Hillary, and then the Podesta emails dropped, and that sent him over the top because all the crazy evil stuff in there.
It's amazing you say that, because I think he's benefited from this whole nefarious kind of gray underworld that was exposed, because he's like, well, I'm not part of that, so vote for me. He did it in 2016, and he did it in 2024. If you remember, Patel and Bongino and himself, they're all on those big bro kind of podcasts and alternate media, like, yo, we should just disclose all the Epstein things, and Bongino's pounding on the table. We got to do it, and then they get in, and nothing happened. Actually, the opposite happened. I don't know how those guys are going to rescue their reputations, but they didn't do what they were put into office.
They just say you're a black pillar Democrat, and that's good enough for them. I guess it's like
Trump's new thing is it's a hoax. The 3 million documents aren't evidence at all; they're a hoax. There's very sophisticated law firms involved in compiling this information, so it's not even coming up through governmental things. So it's not just people making a report that this happened. Like there's called NSOC documents, which are like National Task Force documents.
And you know what else I noticed in there? A lot of reports to the government, to the FBI about wrongdoings that were never followed up on, and they just write it off. They're like they're killing people over here, and the FBI's just like, huh? Who cares? It's like
it's almost like a comedy skit. It's like there's dead bodies at the ranch in Zorro. Okay, click. You know, it's interesting you say that because there is that report that went into the FBI, and then just today or yesterday, the New Mexico, and this is my understanding, I haven't really looked into it, but I saw a report that they authorized a state investigation into Zorro Ranch and an investigation into the property and apportioned funds. So it's good that these other jurisdictions are taking action where the federal government isn't. I don't know how they're going to put this out. I think everybody knows what's going on, Sam. Everybody knows, and that it just shows how overarching corrupt the mass media is, and this top level of these parasites. There's only like 10,000 of them who are pulling the strings on it.
You don't care about Nancy Guthrie then, William?
Right? No, I haven't even followed it. I don't even know the story. I know she's missing. I feel sorry for her, but I don't watch the mainstream. I gave up on the mainstream media like decades.
Let me read you quickly from Reuters about the state of New Mexico approves full investigation into Epstein's Zorro Ranch. Lawmakers unanimously passed a $2.5 million, quote, truth commission with subpoena power to investigate trafficking and sexual assault at the property. The committee starts work tomorrow, and testimony can be used for future prosecutions. A 2019 email in the files alleges 2 foreign girls were buried on the land near the ranch at the direction of Epstein and Maxwell. New Mexico's land commissioner pushed for ground-penetrating radar and cadaver dogs to search the property in 2019. She was completely ignored. 7 years later, they sat on a request to search the grounds for buried bodies. The investigation starts now. And that's a report out of Reuters.
Are you able to see the window I'm sharing?
I am. I'll put it up there.
Okay, cool. Go. This is an interesting email. It's from 2020. But this is a woman who accused Yao of God, which is another baby factory. And it kind of overlaps this because John of God was friends with Abramovich, who pops up in this.
And best friends with Oprah Winfrey, too, right?
Yes, another witch. Blank spoke of this going on at Zorro Ranch. She has said on record that Epstein offered her money to do this, birth babies for black market use. Thank you for investigating this. So that's an email that I think came into either the FBI. I don't know why any of this is redacted, but it's an outrage, and it all needs to be unredacted. So this is a tip, I think, that came in 2020 after the arrest and death of Epstein. Then I got another one for you, which I think you'll find very interesting. If these code words are real, they're talking in code, I think.
Well, that's how they write off all the crazy stuff. That's the one they're eating babies, drinking the blood, and they're like, "Oh, that was just a tip." And it's like, "Well, yeah, somebody told you this crazy stuff's going on. You guys didn't even follow up. You just wrote it off."
You have to laugh. Can you bring up that other window? I'd like your opinion on this because I don't know. I'm on the fence on this one, but I think that these are there's partial code words in here. They're talking about Zorro Ranch. And it says, wanted to make sure you guys knew Jeffrey Epstein told Wendy to get rid of all the, quote, show, unquote, animals on the ranch. The miniature horses, pigs, turkey, goats, Diablo, etc. Wendy said she will try and sell what she can. I don't think Jeffrey Epstein cares much what happens to them, as he said to just kill them. I think the only thing we're keeping is the chickens for the eggs and the horses, which someone can ride. So on a topical thing, it's just they're talking about animals, right? But Jeff is like, let's kill them. And who really has a turkey for a show animal? And when chicken is a known word for young kids, like it's a known pedo term for a long time, for decades. And
No,
so
they're definitely speaking in code there.
Okay, you think so too?
Oh yeah.
Because that would mean that like that would validate the kind of baby farming or whatever. Like keep the chickens keep the kids for their, having kids. Because there's other testimonies in there which are incredible, which are these are recent like litigation. I just want to impart that to people. Like there's like 20, 21, 22 where these high level law firms are gathering information. They got this one from this girl who's 16 who said she's missing 2 babies. They impregnated her and she says, I'm a baby incubator and where are my children? Have you seen that document?
I think I have.
Okay,
Let me see.
I can try to bring it up.
Epstein was emailing prominent geneticists. They were doing eugenics transhumanist experiments. I think this might be the one here. Email shows him discussing embryo implantation, sperm modification, and biohacking.
Yeah, I think that's one of them.
That's one of them. There's a lot.
Yeah, it's one of them.
There are a lot here. This one talking about the biohacking, talking about the Ukraine lab.
Right. So Ukraine pops up again, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just super dark. These are very, very, very evil people. I'm trying to find this one PDF that I have.
They talk about human cloning with Prince Andrew and Katie Couric are talking about eugenics.
Oh, that's right. There was a dinner and they were going to throw up too, right? I vaguely remember that. Like it was going to make somebody throw up.
Yeah, here's that correspondence between Epstein, Katie Couric, and Prince Andrew. It's
I don't know if you've seen this one. Let me bring this up.
You want to bring up those 2 PDFs that?
Sure. Can I just share something real quick?
Sure. Go through that.
I just like this is kind of validates this. Can you see this PDF right here with this red stuff?
Yep.
Does that look familiar to you at all? Have you seen this before?
No, I don't think I've seen this one.
Okay, so this is part of a civil litigation that took place, I think, in 21 or 22. And this is like a girl who, this was her kind of trauma scrapbook or trauma thing. And she writes in code here. Can you see this kind of like scribble? It's actually been deciphered in some of these things. So this little deciphering or death thing that says death is these statements. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's like somebody went through and saw this and then they deciphered it and wrote it here. So she didn't actually write this. That's what the attorney did. And if I can read this, it says, so sorry, Jeffrey, these things happen when your body has never been given time to properly heal. So it came out in the toilet. She had a miscarriage and I didn't know what to do. So I just flushed the tiny little fetus. You have made me numb and I hate you for this. I hope I never have to see you again. I am not your personal incubator. Where is the baby? Where is Ghislaine? I mean, I don't know how much you want to read about this, but it's like, she's saying like the whole place is filled with monsters. I should have. So sad this city could be beautiful if it weren't filled with monsters. The blood from Leon is not there. I think that might be Leon Black. Tomorrow's the halfway ultrasound for Jeffrey. This one stuck, so the baby like stuck. After they took the first baby, who survived in the early miscarriage, I think it was called I no longer feel like a person, but a vessel. It's total dehumanization, depersonalization. Will they take this one too? Who has the first one? Where did Ghislaine go? She's never around. I can't let myself get attached. This is a 16-year-old girl. I'm not old or mature enough to even in the place to have a baby that I'm responsible for. I'm not even able to focus on anything other than hiding this again. I had to go to eating disorder treatment prior to being in this situation again and miss the entire fall semester of school. She's still in high school. I'm so very exhausted. My body feels so tired. Will I ever be free? I didn't console. I'm such a monster. I can't unhear her screams. They haunt me. I couldn't even bring myself to look at her. I'm a monster. I deserve to be haunted by her screams. I'm so sorry. I'm so broken. That's how demonic these people are, man. They are freaking demons.
It's real bad. There's more. I saw in your document you sent me, they talk about what about the Rothschild today? Thrill hunting email from.
Yeah, that's Ariane Rothschild, if I
Mhm.
remember correctly. Like hunting at night, weird stuff.
And it
They're
came
all
out, William, it came out in Sarajevo, right? I don't know if you saw that a couple months back. It came out Italy. Over there in Italy, they're filing lawsuits. The government is against elites that took hunting parties to shoot at civilians in Sarajevo.
That's all validated. It's all true.
It used to
They
be
went,
just crazy internet conspiracy. Now they really are hunting people. Here's that email more about hunting people with Rothschild there. Thanks, thrilling hunt to Rothschild.
amazing old male. Like they're talking like mobsters. It's all secret things, you know. It's all inside jokes and inside statements and stuff.
Sure. So the human hunting is real. It's not just some internet conspiracy. These elite really are hunting humans for sport and for the thrill of it, apparently.
Can I tell you another story? There's one. Have you seen the Juarez file?
No.
There's a file. Let me see if I can bring it up. There's a statement that came into the FBI, I believe, about Jeffrey being in Juarez in 2014. And have you ever heard of the Juarez femicides?
No.
It's kind of a big story. It's this phenomenon. It's not Juarez is, and it's on the other side of El Paso. It's really was a border town. Like it's very dusty. It's like a desert. It gets hotter than 80s there, and a lot of very poor Mexican people. By the way, I found the stat today, which is incredible. A quarter of the whole country of Mexico is now in the United States. Can you believe it? I can actually, but on Juarez, these very poor families go there to work at the maquiladoras, which are these huge international manufacturing facilities. They go there so they don't have to pay these poor people much money, right? But there's been this spate of very young girls, 14, 15, 16, disappearing, later to be found dead in the desert. And it's been going on for 30 years. And it's called the Femicides of Juarez. And there's a bunch of authors and journalists who talk about it. Super dark. And the reason it's super dark is because it's not one rapist, but they think that groups of people from the cartels or elites or people from out of the country are coming there to find pre-selected girls to basically rape and kill. And Jeffrey Epstein was there in 2014. Like this is like if you're a rich guy and you can go to Aspen or Gdansk or Switzerland or Caribbean or wherever, you're like above the national boundaries. There's absolutely no reason you would want to go to Juarez. There's no real natural beauty. It's nothing like high end for you. You're bringing your personal chef everywhere you go. That's what Jeffrey had. So I think there's really only one reason he'd be in Juarez. I just have to validate that document's true. That Juarez document is true. Let me see if I can find it.
How far is Juarez from Zorro Ranch? Not that far.
300-400 miles.
Not that far, right?
I mean that it just opens up a whole new view of what could really be going on here. Let's see. I have this right here.
William, over there in Gaza, they have genocide tourism.
Yeah, they do.
Where you go over there and you look through a telescope and you can see the Palestinians over there getting blown up.
You can watch the bombing from Tel Aviv. You can watch the planes come in and drop the bombs on them. And while you're dancing to your techno thing on a veranda and sipping a drink, you can watch little kids get their arms and legs blown off. It is so sick. And Epstein went after his first bust. Epstein went to Israel. Like he flew to Israel and came back. Like he may not have come back. Like he might have literally fled, and like somebody said, well, you got to go back and face the consequences. This blackmail ring is too great. Can you pull this document up? The most important thing, there's a guy's name, I don't want to mention him. He's denied everything in this. This is something that came into a task force. But the real thing is, like, we had another serious incident since an American shot the trial judge in our child sex trafficking case. This is 2019. We've had 4 armed attacks. This happens all the time on the border. It's really chaotic. But the most important thing in the sentence is the center, where it says, we believe that blank and Epstein were involved organizing this party, and it was held in Juarez, Mexico in 2014 at a U.S. consulate-controlled housing facility. So it's not the U.S. consulate, but it's a housing facility. And there's like a sentence for impregnating an 11-year-old girl and a payoff. But the important thing is this guy, Ken Turner, saying that he believes Epstein was in Juarez in 2014. So if he's in Juarez, there's only one reason he's in Juarez. And I can probably, you could bring it up yourself. If you look, you could probably go to the Wikipedia page, just look up femicide in Juarez, Mexico for me and see if you can bring that up. And it'll go into the story. 2,000 dead little kids, 2 teenage girls specifically. They don't go after boys. And there's like stories and people have written books about it. And there was some guy from Egypt who went there to do it. So like it was in the underground community. Like if you're a pedophile, you go to like Cambodia or Thailand or somewhere where you can find kids, right? Or you join, Boy Scouts or something like that.
I remember one of your shows, I forget even which one, William, where you guys are talking about Arthur C. Clarke.
Yeah.
Went overseas, and he's a giant child molester.
Sri Lanka.
Right? Yeah.
He's a member of NAMBLA. I had forgotten that, but he's the literal member of the National Association Man-Boy something, that Man-Boy Love Association, but they had a special place so these old dirty pedophiles from the West could go to Sri Lanka where there's not those kind of rules and like play ping pong of all things with these young boys. And they dress the young boys up in like tight tennis shorts or whatever. It's almost a joke, but like this is why he went to Sri Lanka, because that was his thing. So I mean, so like sex tourism is a thing. One of the interesting things about sex trafficking and sex tourism is that
they talk about it in Epstein emails. I came across one of them where they're talking about all different sex laws across the world, right. And what you could get away with, and just wow, it's like,
yeah, you've been reading. That's good. Yeah, that's right. I saw that same document.
In Juarez, Wikipedia says more than 500 women were killed between 1993 and 2011 in Juarez, a city in northern Mexico. The murders of women and girls received international attention primarily due to perceived government inaction in preventing the violence and bringing the perpetrators to justice. Well, that's where we're at now. No government action on justice here.
So true, man. You just nailed it right on there. The thing is that I think you're all involved, possibly. That's the whole thing, is that the cartel is the government, right? So it's like Juarez is really creepy. And so there were 2 like you can go, the story gets a lot deeper, but there were 2 kind of like justice-oriented attorneys, and they were literally hunted down with guys in cars like Sicario and blown away. So like people tried to solve it. That's why it wasn't solved, because they went after the people who tried to solve it too. But that Wikipedia, it's classic Wikipedia. It's still ongoing to today. And they just put out something in the last like couple of years, like, we're sorry, but there was a woman who lived in El Paso who said that she thinks the accurate number is closer to 2,000 for the last 30 years. And we know a lot of weird stuff happens at the border. If you remember, Jesus Adolfo Constanzo at Matamoros with Mark Kilroy. That was closer to Brownsville, which is at the very bottom of Texas. But there's a lot of like drug trafficking, and they call them narcos satanicos. So there's a lot of that stuff that's very, very dark that happens at the border.
You want to bring up your...
Yeah.
Which Epstein PDF you want to go through first?
Yeah. Let's see. Do you want to bring it up on your end, or do you want me to do it?
No, I can do it here. I could drive and you could narrate.
Yeah, I mean, we can just go through. I have some pictures of the femicide stuff too, right at the beginning. The first page, if you bring it up, thing is, I'm having trouble saying. Okay, it's cool.
This
Yeah,
one?
yeah, that's perfect. I think that's it. But that first, oh, I think, oh, that's the Eyes Wide Shut one. That's fine.
This one or the other one?
No,
We
that's
could
fine.
do.
This is the one I did for Eyes Wide Shut.
All right.
Can we do the Epstein files first? Because that
Sure.
has just a document that I'd like people to know about.
Sure.
Do you have that other one? I don't know
This
if
one?
Yeah. That first one is the really important document. Jeffrey Berman was fired by Trump, but he was putting something about the investigation into potential co-conspirators of Jeffrey Epstein. This is after he died, but it's a very important, it's a much longer document. I just put the first page there because it's 85 pages and it shows that there's other conspirators and that the government was looking into them, and they wrote a heavily redacted 85-page document about it.
When did you see where Maxwell said that the men involved in it, over 20 of them, made a deal with the DOJ, and that's why they're not being prosecuted, because they've made some kind of deal.
I don't know if is that a public deal. I don't think it's public, right?
No, it hasn't been disclosed, but that's just Maxwell. We can't. I mean, can we believe what she's saying? Probably not, but that's what she has said in the last couple of weeks.
In the original court case, something extraordinary happened. Not only did Epstein was able to, I think he was abusing young kids, like 14-year-olds, but they moved the case to over a 16-year-old girl, which I don't think comported with the facts. So he didn't get more intense charges, but they also had a global agreement on non-prosecution, like a non-prosecution agreement, and they applied it to everybody around Epstein's network. And then when Epstein was arrested back in July of 2019, that's what his attorneys brought up as a response to this arrest of Epstein. Hey, we already saw it, we already signed this non-prosecution agreement, totally corrupt, right, with Acosta. But they signed this non-prosecution. So maybe that's what they're referencing, is this non-prosecution agreement that went back all the way to 2007 or 8.
And we go back there with Acosta, the prosecutor out of Florida, and he said that Epstein belongs to intelligence, right?
Right.
Why you wouldn't prosecute him?
Yeah, him fleeing to Israel is a huge tell too. And there's other documents in here, like other NSOC documents or whatever, that go to the FBI where people are like, this guy's Mossad. He's Mossad affiliated. And so was Dershowitz.
Looks like I just call them Western intelligence, CIA, UK, Israel, all of them. They're basically like one blob to me, all working together for evil means.
Yeah. Very evil. Very, very, very evil people.
Any more in this one? You want to go?
No, just scroll down if you can. This is the other one I mentioned you about, the Ninth Circle. Jeffrey Epstein writes this to Bannon in 2018.
Now, this is a satanic or occult movement in the Catholic Church.
You can look that up yourself. There's probably, if you look up Kevin Annett, Annet, in the Ninth Circle, he has a bunch of work on it. And it's this kind of this satanic underground where they've sacrificed people.
When we're talking about that, real quick, William, do you think they're going to use pop Satanism, like the satanic panic of the 80s, to try to whitewash all of this?
100%. I think they're already doing it, Sam. They're already doing it. The Atlantic came out and wrote an article within a week of the drop on January 30th and said, this is something that pertains to the history of moral panics. So the fact that people are outraged is a moral panic, which is kind of a corollary to the satanic panic. I haven't seen them play the satanic panic card, but it is interesting because this woman Loftus, who's part of the False Memory Syndrome Foundation, is surrounding these people. She was an expert for Ghislaine Maxwell, and she's also on Jeffrey Krause's Origins board. And she's one of these and she was with Jolly West. I know you know Jolly West, right?
MKUltra doctor.
Yeah, MKUltra.
And they also talk about the voice to skull technology in there. They talk about targeted individuals, the same type of things. They're talking about targeting people with ham radios. I don't know if you saw that document. So you hear the testimony of people who claim that they're targeted individuals getting voices beamed in their head, gang stalked, harassed. they talk exactly. There's a document in the Epstein files that lays all that out.
That's what they did to these little girls back in 2007 and 8 too. They like compiled all this information about them on their like that's when MySpace actually existed.
That's what Dershowitz used to smear the victims and say, well, they were talking about smoking weed and partying on their MySpace, so they're discredited. Well, thanks a lot, Dershowitz, you piece of garbage, you know?
Total monster, just a total piece of S. I just don't. I've said it, I'll say it again. Like, some of these people will not be able to walk down the streets. And I'm saying this as a member of the State Bar of California, Sam, is that some of these people, if somebody did something bad to them and they went to court, they will not be, in about a month or two, they will not be able to seat a jury that will convict these people. It's going to be a real, I mean this, and I'm not exaggerating. It's going to be a real problem for the legal system in the United States, because if the government doesn't do anything, they're encouraging vigilantism. And there's somebody out there, like, there's horrible stories of people who've been abused and it's personal for them. Like, they're going to be pissed.
Remember the guy that went and shot Comet Pizza or Comet Ping Pong Pizza, right? He went and shot, and it turns out that was the wrong deal, but we could see probably more vigilantism like that if we don't get justice, for sure.
Yeah, I don't think it's outside the realm. It's not some kind of like speculation. I think that's. There was a case story of a guy who did the same thing in Washington. He was convicted, but he was motivated because she was trafficked or something like that. And he was really angry about it. Yeah, look up the Ninth Circle. I encourage you to do a little bit more research. Again, the kind of primary researcher into the Ninth Circle is a guy by the name of Kevin Annett, Annett. And there's been they're in Italy, like, it's super dark stuff associated with like Dutroux type of stuff, that happened around Brussels. And this actual document kind of hints at Dutroux, because they're talking about, if you see in the center, Bannon the European, he's opening a populist fort in Brussels, which is the epicenter of the EU, right? But also like the epicenter of Dutroux, who was like abducting girls and giving them to elites. It's the same story. It's like pedivores and stuff like that. Sex parties, black magic. It's all there. So, I mean, Epstein, and he's part, and this is also part of him. He's on this thing called Dignitas Humanae Institute, where there are members of the Knights of Malta, which is a Catholic organization. But they've had some very, very dark people involved, including Jimmy Savile, who was a necrophiliac. And Savile's also in these documents, in some of the FBI report documents. He's overlapping with these guys. Somebody made a testimony that Savile was with some of these guys in New Orleans, like 10 or 20 years ago when he was alive. But that, just putting Savile in the orbit of these guys is like, this is like a Crowley level demon person. Like, Savile's a trafficker too, like, just like one of the most evil people imaginable. So anyway.
Right up there with Epstein, right? Best friends with the royal family.
Yeah. He had carte blanche. He could just walk into Buckingham Palace with a backpack. There's literal videos of him just popping into Buckingham Palace, la-di-dawing, I'm going to go see Prince Charles. And then Prince Charles's brother is all in this and had to pay out to Virginia Giuffre, right?
America doesn't know about Jimmy Savile. He was a famous DJ in UK for years and years and years.
He was like their Bob Hope.
Like their Bob, and Bob Hope's implicated in MKUltra mind control,
sure,
trauma-based mind control as well.
What's the guy who was, he's another kind of from the Bob Hope era who did all the American Bandstand guys. Do you remember his name?
Dick Clark?
Yeah, Dick Clark. He was like a Dick Clark too. Like he was like a establishment figure and joking around, and this is the new band. Like, he would introduce Led Zeppelin or whatever.
He was helping sick kids at the hospital, William.
He sure was. So they have, that's one of the things that should creep people out, is when these people have access to children. So a lot of times there's like the dual interest, right? It's like they're helping them, but they're also helping themselves to the kids too. It's really super dark. This is one, if you go to 4, I don't know. Are you seeing what I'm seeing, or Where have you shown? Oh, you put the PDF down.
Yeah, I have it here.
Okay. Do you want to
Page
put it back
4 on
up?
it. Page
Yeah. Can you
4
put
on
it
it.
back up?
Here's page 4.
Yeah, that's perfect right there. That's where he's talking to Bannon. And he's like, dinner with Woody, or is it too many pedos in one place? Like he literally is saying too many pedos in one place to Bannon.
They might,
So
maybe they'll start raping each other. It's just
yeah,
like, God.
these are like ghoulish balls, you know. They're always having dinners and stuff. And there's like a famous cannibal movie called Eating Raoul, and that's what comes to mind is these guys are like doing super dark stuff, you know. But he always wants to have people over for dinner. It's really weird. If you don't mind scrolling down a little soon.
Yeah.
That's the Juarez document right there, EFT. So EFT stands for Epstein Files Transparency Act. And then there's a number. It's called a Bates number. So if people don't know that, the reason why when they have voluminous records, it's easier to trace these documents. So all you have to do if you want to find these documents, if they haven't been taken down, is to go to the justice.gov / Epstein, and type in EFTA 00164984. You can see all these documents yourself. So I'm not bringing these up out of like nowhere. These come straight out of these records, which according to the act that was the Epstein Files Transparency Act, these are in the public domain now. So there's no copyright.
You can see the file number right here at the bottom.
Exactly.
Well, you remember when they first dropped this most recent batch of Epstein files, the DOJ played around with that one report that was a call-in reporting about Trump and about eating the babies and all this.
Yeah.
And they put it out and then they redacted it and then put it out again in a couple hours. I don't know what all that was about.
I don't remember that.
They did.
They dropped like 500. Is this from the 500,000 that dropped like in December?
No, this is the most recent one because I was watching it when it happened, and people are like, "Well, they already deleted it," and then they play this game, trying to discredit it or something, I guess, where they put it out and then redacted it and then put it out again. It feels like they're trying to whitewash a lot of it and discredit it and say, "Oh, that's just some internet thing." It's like, no, that's a document right from you guys.
Well, you have to tell me more about that because I'm not familiar with that at all. I believe it. They did take down that one document at the beginning of this.
They're playing a lot of games still.
They sure are. Even Sam, even like the way that they brought the data out is like intended for people not to have any transparency. So the Epstein Files Transparency Act isn't transparent the way the DOJ dropped it, because all you can do in the search function is like get 10 results at a time. So you have to basically go back through and go over and over again. And the thing is like now data research and data analysis is kind of like a core element of computer science. So like there's the way they could have gotten just some guy from McKinsey or some consulting company to like make it as transparent as possible and to get all your search results and then click a button and have those exported to you or whatever. But they did the opposite. It's like something from the 1970s. It's like TSR 80, like Radio Shack type stuff. It's just like ancient. It's so obvious. It's so transparent to me that they did it intentionally, that sloppy. It's just so incredible. This is the most incredible event. Like once I realized it, like, oh, I'm just going to look through some of these documents. What the hell? Cannibalism? What the hell? Trafficking? Where's this criminal? I thought they told me there was nothing to these files. It's crazy to hear Trump keep saying it's just a one big Democrat hoax. He just keeps saying that over and over again. I'm just like, no, it's not.
He wants to move on, he says.
They decided to move on. So it's like so crazy. There's a whole, like the boomer like generation has no idea what's going on because they only watch TV.
Because they're trying to find Nancy Guthrie's kidnappers right now.
Right, bro. It's just really something else. Anyway, are we going 2 hours or one? Because I got another hour in me if you got.
Yeah, let's do two. You got another hour. Let's take our commercial break now.
Cool.
Let me plug, and then you plug your stuff. Everybody go to weaponizednews.com. We're doing commercial free. Give us that like, share, subscribe, push that notification button. on William's channels as well here. Follow him on the X. You can get all of his work. I'll let him plug his stuff. Go to weaponizednews.com. You can get yourself a holograph sticker, white background sticker, and the clear sticker. That's an old one. You'll get a new one. Put it on your laptop, your bumper, your guitar, your work locker, your hard hat, as listeners have, and send in pictures. Help support independent reporting and analysis brought to you here 5 days a week at Weaponized News. Go to weaponizednews.com. In the description below this video is the link to our store. We take donations as well. We'd rather have you buy something from us. But if you don't want to buy anything, we take donations. Cash App, buy me a coffee, Bitcoin wallet address, all in the description below this video. Take a look at Weaponized News store. We have custom t-shirts. We have Weaponized News t-shirts. We got the coffee mugs, the baseball caps. Go take a look. You may find something you enjoy there at weaponizednews.com. Go ahead, William, and plug away your stuff.
Yeah, William Ramsey Investigates. I cover a lot of subject. I just started covering this once I realized how big and enormous of a story this is. Like, it's just really incredible stuff.
But it's right up your alley because you have the background to understand, as we talked about, you're the author of all these books diving deep into the occult. And so you have a true understanding, unlike, I would say, the majority out there that are first seeing this material, because you have the whole background to understand.
It gets worse. He liked occult books. He did stuff. He did weird stuff. He knows NLP. He knows neuro-linguistic programming.
Mind control, the hypnosis. Exactly. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Continue.
Anyway, so it's just William Ramsey at my thing. I've got 5 books you can find on Amazon, and just check out and listen and share. Share this show. Share my show. I'm totally independent. I'm not financed by Peter Thiel or any Peter Thiel cutout. I just survive on the listening to the ads and buying my stuff. So I really appreciate it. Yeah, there's my website. I had to change it to a blue background. People thought it was too ominous looking. But those are not pro-occult books, guys. I'm an anti-occultist. I'm a Christian. I believe in exposing the occult. And these are like a lot of important stories that I thought the mainstream garbage media wasn't covering. So I wrote these books about them. So they're written out of kind of a sense of outrage that, people don't think these subjects are important, but the occult always ends up bad. It's always evil, and they always are abusing people and stuff like that. So anyway.
Go follow William. You can see his X handle right there, at William Ramsey in. Right there. Follow us. Follow me at Weaponized News on the X for whatever it's worth. Wow, William, you have done a lot of work here, and I like that you point out the fact. Well, you're exposing the cult here now, and this stuff really is going on, and they want to write it off to crazy conspiracy theories on the internet. No, all of this is very real. This is the control system. This is the operating system of the quote global elite running everything.
It sure is. You're absolutely right. I like that. I'm going to borrow that operating system. It really is. Blackmail.
The more I look into this stuff, it looks like maybe all across the board, all these public figures are victims as well of the trauma-based, fear-based mind control. And the public face of Elon Musk is that persona, that personality, which has been split into all different parts. And you see the Tesla CEO guy one second and a different guy. And so I believe Bill Clinton is, and you just go through and look at these people. I believe they're also they're victims and abusers in this whole dark occult mind control program operating system.
It seems like that's the thing, is that they come in, they're abused, and then they switch. Like Epstein was able to bring in girls, and then they would switch around and become the abuser. Mm-hmm. So this cyclical thing, like you said, is real. And I think that some of our political leaders have been brought into some of this. Like Bill Clinton, there's that famous video of him where he's just literally zoned out and they're doing makeup on his face. He looks whacked out, like he's just totally dissociated. I could try to see if I could bring that up. But I think some of these guys like Obama have been exposed to some of this trauma stuff. I really do, yeah.
It looks like that this is their operating system, and these are the actors. They march out publicly to sell us their agenda.
I think so. I think that's here's have you ever seen the Clinton puppeteer video? You might have. Let me see if I can bring
I
this
seen
up.
that one where you're talking about where he's getting makeup in the chair and just looks zoned out of his mind,
Yeah.
like he's out of his mind, because I believe he is. He's in some disassociative state.
And this is the one. Maybe you can just show this. Can you see that one with him?
Yeah.
It does have a little bit of audio. It's just not coming through. Look at his weird face.
Yeah. And William, I think, I'm not saying feel sorry for these people, but understand they're puppets as well.
And this guy's heavily involved in the Epstein thing, right? Like he's all over the place.
Hillary said they're not involved, William.
Well, you got to believe her first. Oh my God. It's so crazy. I mean, Sam, like watching CBS News, this new CBS News, and like the people they brought on one panel, one was Hillary Clinton and one was Alan Dershowitz. I'm like, this is the Epstein network.
Get an objective interview there.
It's just incredible. Like, this is what you're going out with? That you're going to try to capture people back into your kind of like audience or something? Is these people who are like Dershowitz has been friends with Epstein for like 30, 40 years or something crazy.
Was his lawyer, but he got massages, but only in his underwear, you see. And none of the girls were underage. Okay. And you're still looking for OJ's, the real killer in the OJ case too. There, Dershowitz, right?
No, it's incredible. He was getting documents. I actually showed one today that he gets documents of stuff like from his legal practice of people who've been abused, but he never discloses it to the public. So like he sees the back end of the stuff from the factory. Like it was basically an industrial abuse thing. 10,000 girls. Oh, I want to show you something really creepy, how industrial it was. But they were like bringing people in from South America, Eastern Europe, Nordic states, just wherever they could find them. They were just bringing them through and processing them. Like they had almost like this, it was almost like bringing into a cult. Like, oh, you're friends. Oh, Jeff's a nice guy. Come in and visit. Have a meal. We can help you out. Here's some money. Come back. Hey, do you want to make more money? Have a massage. Oh, how was that? Oh, was that good? Okay, you have some more money. Now I want to send you to so-and-so, So they would just do that over and over. And they were predating on people in local high schools close to where Jeff was. It just is absolutely sick and incredible. But maybe we can go back to these slides again because I'll show you how dark it gets. Because these guys were investing in companies. I mean, I want to show you. Have you heard of the whole Life Touch scandal?
No. Tell us about that.
Well, if you bring up those things, you could bring it up.
Which page?
Bring up the PDF. It's an aspect of this.
Which page is it on?
I'm sorry. I'm on page 6.
Page 6.
It's the one with the pink crosses.
Oh yeah. So there we go. Let's go there.
Yeah. So this has kind of become the symbol of this femicide in Juarez, right across the border from El Paso, are these pink crosses. And if you scroll down one more, these are the mothers that disappeared. They were looking for their children: Esmeralda Martinez, Maria Sagrario. Like their names, these are like 14, 15-year-old girls. And if you go down to this one big cross down here, that is in the border between Juarez and El Paso. And that each one of those looks like a big nail or whatever, it represents a victim, a known victim. So every time somebody crosses between the border, between like that car lane on the left is going into the U.S., every time they leave, they see this. So it's a known thing in Juarez. Like everybody in Juarez knows these kids are being predated on. They just never caught anybody. They've literally never arrested anybody, to my knowledge, for these crimes. Then if you scroll down one more, these are from Jeffrey's bank documents. If you see the highlight right there in the center, it says Life Touch Online. Oh, one of the actually important elements of these stories is these kids were part of a lot of them they made a tracing to this computer store or computer training center where they would have to go and type in and put their name and their picture and their background into this computer. And they think that that was a place where they were being captured. So somebody saw their name and face on this thing. And then LifeTouch, do you know what LifeTouch is?
No.
LifeTouch is the #1 photography company for taking pictures of kids in the United States.
Now, what about that idea, William, where the yearbook pictures at junior high, high school are being used as a child molester catalog to pick out kids they want to abduct and abuse?
Right. Yeah. I mean, this is what's happening. This is in the news today. This is like people are freaked out because Jeffrey was a huge investor in he was a huge investor in the parent company of LifeTouch, which is Shutterfly. If you go down one more thing, you'll see this is his investment thing, and you'll see the highlight there.
What about William in the 80s? What do you think about the idea before we had the internet, they would communicate with these networks using the lost children on the back of milk cartons?
Right.
It's starting to look like all these crazy conspiracies that you're like, oh, that's
coming true. Shutterfly, look at the size of his. Hey Sam, look at the size of his investment, net money. Can you read how much money he invested in Shutterfly? It's hard to read.
In these two, yeah, like what, 77,000?
No, that's if you go to net money, it's 2,500,000 in two different tranches, I think.
Here, yeah.
So he's invested at least $2.5 or $5 million in Shutterfly, which is the parent company of this LifeTouch thing. And then here's the story. It's all over the internet. If you can switch over, I know it's kind of a pain in the butt.
No, it's fine. And a bunch of textbooks are published by Maxwell Company as well, right? So it gets worse and worse and worse.
Now we just saw these are from the Epstein files. So I've just shown you LifeTouches in the Epstein files, right? Mm-hmm. You can switch over to the can you see the browser window that I put up? Is that on there?
Yeah, here we go.
So this is prominent school photography company LifeTouch under scrutiny amid Epstein. It's not a rumor. We just saw it in there. Some school photo days are being canceled after rumors swirl about companies' connection. It's not rumored.
ABC is still covering up for them.
Yeah, this is February 14th, right? So 3 days ago. This is my favorite. If you go, well, it's not my favorite, but watch this thing right here. This is total like Orwellian propaganda right here. It's really something else. Watch this. This guy will say, this is just straight lies. Like, I don't know who owns ABC or 7 Eyewitness News, but watch this. Like, it's.
Remember that remember the reporter that said they had all this at ABC? The national reporter lady? And they were forced to bury it?
Yeah, I remember her, yeah. Parents seeking reassurance amid Epstein rumor. It's not a rumor. I just showed it to you.
Well, it's 100%.
He's an investor. At some point, he was an investor in these companies. What's the date on that document? I forgot.
This one, 2012.
Yeah, so at least in 2012, he was doing it. Like, I don't know who owns it or who. I mean, he's obviously, I think he's dead. So, but if you see this reporter, I can't remember where he is, but he's like, there's a thing like, this is an unfounded rumor, an unfounded accusation, and they're putting stuff in writing. I just substantiated it. He was a huge investor in Shutterfly, the owner of LifeTouch. This is it. LifeTouch is not named in the Epstein files.
Straight up lie. Straight up lie. Good job there.
I just showed it to you. Yeah, I mean, it's just
good really job, funny. ABC liars.
This is his. You can
now,
see.
Does this make them complicit? Because you're gonna have Dershowitz screaming blood libel. You know what I mean? But it's like, no, you guys are now complicit in the cover-up with these lies.
If you don't mind switching back to those PDF, I can show you the Bates number for these documents. EFT
right there, right?
A00133570. So these and then that one too. EFT 002846669. Go check them out.
Go check them out, ABC.
This is the guy they thought looked like Shrek. His name's Leon Black. He owns...
Leon Black is owner of it too.
Yes,
William.
yeah, he sure is. Apollo.
That's what's tying it all together. Is his relationship with Epstein? Is his company has an ownership stake in Shutterfly?
Yes, sir. So he's part of the network.
He's part of the network.
That's what Apollo's building is. It's a huge monolith. And you'll see this weird design of monoliths all throughout 9/11, Arthur C. Clarke, all that stuff. And there's Apollo Management. He's named right there. He's all over the Epstein files. And then he's named all this thing. Like we just talked about this earlier, blood libel from Leon. Mm-hmm. And this is the woman Christensen. She's talking about this victim here who's not named. But then it gets even worse because there's like elite people involved in this abuse. I don't even think if you want to read that, it gets very graphic, but these are from the legal documents. And you have all of the Bates numbers, all the EFTA numbers.
Like there's your case number, yeah.
Yeah.
What is it called again, William? Bates number.
Bates, yeah, it's a term that's used in legal things to organize that stuff. So if people have like reams of like some kind of huge corporate litigation, like they literally produce millions of documents. So one of the easiest way to find those documents electronic or back before even computers would just say, what's the Bates number? And so these would be the Bates number on the right outside. So you can type any one of these numbers on the bottom right into justice.gov/Epstein, and then you could bring it up.
Wow.
And this is a very talented, knowledgeable lawyer, this Christensen, and this is very recent. These documents are from 2024, like literally 2 years ago. She's looking into this case of this 16-year-old. This guy's named in here, Dana Chasen. He's a Democratic political operative. So it's not just right and left. Yeah, if you scroll down a little bit more, there's this picture of a woman. It's been redacted, but it's kind of this view of human dehumanization. She's juxtaposing or put in front of these exercise equipments, and I think it makes her look like she's just a piece of disposable exercise equipment. You know, I think that's what the implication is here.
Yeah.
And then there's another secret society in this stuff that I never heard of called the Zodiac Club. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
Yeah, there's a Zodiac, and these elite members. There's only 12 members at any one time, and it's still very secret. They do really cool stuff. But mostly since they're all very old, just dinners in exotic locations. So what do they do when they're younger? I don't know. But they're trying to... One of the people that they mentioned is Tom Brokaw and Paul Volcker. Are you familiar with the name of Paul Volcker?
Yeah, he's the former head of the Federal Reserve.
Sure was.
He saved America from Jimmy Carter's inflation, we're told.
That's what we're told. There are obviously no minorities or women allowed.
Obviously.
So, yeah, I mean, there's all these other things. Let's see. Turkey gives pasta. I mean, there's just all these notes. They know Hillary. I think that's why I have this one in there. Is like, this guy, Tom Pritzker, just resigned today, by the way. He just resigned from his office.
I saw that. But we're not getting much action. Even a bunch in Europe have not a bunch, like, I don't know, a handful have resigned due to public shame. And then they've defrocked Prince William there of his royalty.
Sure did. He's no longer a prince, is my understanding.
Mm-hmm. And kicked him out of the palace and everything, like totally disowned him.
Yeah, well, there's a picture in there. I don't know if you've seen it.
William, at least they act publicly ashamed in Europe. Here in America, there's no shame.
No, there really isn't.
There's no shame here. That one guy, Atia, however you say it.
Atia, yeah.
Atia, he's going to stay on at ZBS News.
Who I just told you was like, they're all in the network. So it seems perfect, right? Mm-hmm. They like literally interview Hillary and Dershowitz. This document that you're looking at is really interesting because it's where they're using this kind of fake thing. I would love to see these pictures.
More code words, creamy
shrimp and cream sauce with twins. Compilation creamy shrimp.
Yeah.
I'm laying on the floor. I can't move. I don't know what this is. And by the way, he's Jewish, so he should be kosher or kasher.
I think he's just using that as a cover, though, really, because he's actually an occultist, right?
I think so. Yeah. There's no evidence of him going to Shabbat. There's no evidence of him quoting the Bible. So it's like he's like a Jew, but not a...
But you say anything bad about him, that's anti-Semitism and blood libel, and Dershowitz will come after you.
Yeah, they're just lovely, charming people.
Yeah.
But it is interesting here that like they're... I mean, and then he goes on, if you go to 29, he says, I've ordered Jew food. And Bannon says, okay, my favorite. So, and then he invites Bannon to the ranch. Hey, Bannon, your boys are welcome. You're welcome with your boys to see my ranch. It's pretty unique. 45 minutes from Albuquerque. I'm still in New York. So
Wait, did you watch that 2-hour interview with him and Bannon?
I didn't. Have you?
I watched it. What are they talking? Epstein says that the general public, and I guess it's still true, says that they don't understand finance and fractional reserve banking, which I thought was quite telling in that interview with Bannon, amongst other things. Did you see where they were using, I believe Bannon and him were using World of Warcraft to launder money?
Oh, yeah, I heard about that.
You could buy digital tokens in World of Warcraft. This is like 2012, something like this, a while back, right? And no, it wasn't tracked by anyone or anything, allegedly, and they were using World of Warcraft to launder large sums of money that way.
I heard that. And like weird lottery wins too.
Yeah, he won his trust, right? Zorro Trust won $80 million in the New Mexico State Lottery.
Everything's so corrupt. It's not surprising that they could just corrupt
I've heard that for a while. Have you heard? You probably heard that too. That Freemasons and other secret societies use the lottery as a money laundering payoff kind of system. It's starting to look like, yeah, that's exactly why.
Makes perfect sense. The mob used to do that too. They would run these like numbers rackets and fake lotteries and stuff like that. And they would fix horse races. They'd fix almost everything they could. Basketball games. They'd fix everything they could. So why wouldn't they fix a lottery, especially with that much money?
With that much money, that's a large amount of money.
You have to pay off at the lottery for them to fix it. Like, how much will you take? Like, if you're the head of the state lottery, I'll give you $10 million. Shut up. And then you'd be like, that's life-changing money. Like, what? All right.
Maybe shrimp cocktail, more about the shrimp cereal.
Yeah, look at this down here. Here's another one. Bates number EFTA 022808 536 2017. Put platter in freezer for shrimp. Okay, I guess maybe that's it. You freeze a platter, so you're going to put shrimp on it. You want some shrimp tonight? Maybe shrimp cocktail. These are all Jews. These are like Jewish people. Walnut sauce is in there, so like shrimp sauce and stuff.
All the codes from Podesta emails are coming back around again.
Yeah.
Walnut equals person of color. Sauce equals orgy.
This is really disgusting one where they're talking to this guy, Mark Tramo, and it's about a baby. And he says, was just reading today that newborns will suck on a pacifier more vigorously if it triggers playback of a recording of his or her mother's voice than another woman's voice. Have you read David Brooks' Social Animal? This is from this guy who's really in the crosshairs of UCLA. But who the hell talks about that? Epstein doesn't have any kids. Right? This
Allegedly.
is from EFTA 002. They're talking about how to make a baby suck on a pacifier more vigorously.
Yeah.
That is so freaking sick.
The
next one is a picture. Like, that picture's been redacted now. When I first made this, it wasn't redacted, but it's redacted, and it's a baby. Let me see if I can pull it up. It's a baby in like a sink, and I think that the artwork's name is called Shrimp Cocktail.
Wow.
Yeah, no, it's so freaking disgusting. What the hell are they talking about?
Jerky. There's the jerky.
Yeah, we can go into jerky too.
And talking about making it and at a restaurant called Cannibal, right?
Right, that's right.
It's like what?
You almost cannot even believe this stuff. Like, what are you talking?
We can't deny it and just whitewash it and say, "Oh, that's just crazy." No, this is what they were doing, and all the signs are there if you read between the lines here. And some of it's not even coded; it's just outright.
Yeah, well said. Are you able to look at the one I'm sharing? Oh, there it is. This is the real picture of what I just showed redacted. This is the unredacted. This is from James O'Keefe Group. The people are stealing a lot of other people's research, so we had to put like a
watermark on there.
Yeah, mark on it, but
it's really not his. It's actually Epstein's and public information.
True.
You know what I mean? So I don't think anyone could stake a claim to any of these documents. Actually, they're all ours. We're taxpayers, right?
That's right. They're all in the public domain now, according to the Epstein Files Transparency Act. Everything they release goes right to the public domain. But maybe
somebody could stake a claim and say, "Well, you stole my research where I connected the dots and came up with this hypothesis about what's going on." But all these documents are, like you say, in the public domain, and our tax money paid for it to be processed and released and spun off in a million different directions.
They sure did.
Back to this jerky.
Yeah, jerky, more jerky. But who needs this jerky? And the other thing, it's not specific. Is it beef jerky? Is it a type of beef jerky? Is it pork jerky? And how do we deal with the frozen white tuna? See that on the bottom? Like, I talked to my wife about what we're having for dinner, but it's never this kind of thing. Like,
no.
Like, should I take the tuna out of the freezer and thaw it? Like, not how do we deal with it? You know what I mean?
Yeah. She will give you massage and she looks better than shrimp, right? Okay. And so that's putting the shrimp references in more context.
This is some of the anti-goy racism. This is with his doctor. I mentioned it earlier. Harry.
Are we even allowed? William, are we allowed to say they're racist against us, or it's just they're the God's chosen people, and that's their position, and we're just not allowed to even question it?
Maybe Dershowitz will show up at my door tomorrow. Who knows? This is what they wrote. I didn't write this stuff. You can see the Bates number right there on the bottom, EFTA 016.
Oh, I know, but the way they act is everything's against them, the Holocaust, blah, blah. We know the routine, right? And so they can never be, supremacist against anyone else. It's always
the victim,
Always the victim, and never forget the Holocaust. 6 million, right?
Nope, goyim. And then Harry says pizza and grape soda tomorrow for lunch. We can also buy tefillin for Woody. So tefillin is this black box they put on their forehead and then wrap around, supposedly contains the word of God. But pizza and grape soda are pedophile terms. So this guy puts pedophile terms and Jewish religiosity together in one or two sentences.
William, what is that thing called again? I always forget. The tefillin?
Tefillin. That's what he just mentioned. So it's
the black box
of Saturn, supposedly. Mm-hmm. And then it wraps around and it comes down your arm and you hold it. And inside the box is some kind of religious statement in Hebrew. And there's something about, in one of the Old Testament prophets, I can't remember which one, whether it's Moses or something else, is that you're supposed to have the words of God attached to the front of your forehead and in your right hand. So what the tefillin represents is this attachment of the word of God in your, so it's emulating this biblical statement from the head to your hand. So you're walking around with the word of God. But then there's nothing in the Bible about raping kids and gang rape. Grape soda means grape soda is gang rape.
Is there anything in the Bible where Jesus says that how great genocide is? You know what I mean? It's like...
What he says is anybody abuses one of my little ones, it would be better for them to have a lodestone wrapped around your neck and thrown to the bottom of the sea.
Indeed.
They are abusing little ones.
And open racism against white people or anybody that's not part of their cult, essentially.
They never thought this would happen. I think really what he's saying right here, what Jeffrey Epstein is saying, is that we can do this thing because they're goyim. It doesn't matter. So we can do pizza and grape soda and gang rape them because they're not even human. We don't view them as equal or as part of us in any way. I think that
back to that picture with the girl that was blocked out. Treat her like a piece of exercise equipment.
Yeah, I think so. And actually, one of the interesting things I missed putting it into this one. I made a mistake, but if you go back and look at some of the Kubrick materials, even preceding Eyes Wide Shut, but in the intro into Clockwork Orange, their women are in these kind of.
No, it's in this. You sent me that. It's in the other one.
Okay.
Eyes Wide Shut
well,
stuff.
We can get to that. So it's a theme that I think it goes into the culture. Some of these guys, they're playing out this theme. That's what a monstrous piece of garbage Epstein was. That's how evil these people are. They're totally evil people.
Wait, real quick, what are your thoughts on Kubrick? What's up with Kubrick? He told us so much through his films, exposing all this occult activity. He had to be part of it, right?
I think so. My takeaway is that he was part of it and knew about it, and that's why he was interested in Lolita in Nabokov. And there's rumors that he was abusing the girl who played the lead role for Lolita. And it is interesting because there is this overlap between Kubrick and Lolita and Nabokov and the Epstein files, because Epstein talks about Nabokov a lot. And one of his close associates, who he spends a lot of time emailing with, is a guy by the name of Edward J. Epstein. It's the same last name. But Edward J. Epstein you can look him up on Amazon. He wrote a lot of kind of like books on JFK. He was kind of what would be called maybe a left-wing investigative journalist. So he's always writing against, the right. But he literally studied under Vladimir Nabokov. And so they had very intimate knowledge of Nabokov. And in one of Jeffrey Epstein's bookshelves is a first edition of Lolita. So this theme of Lolita Express, it is real. But these guys' tastes were much broader than that. And there's boys supposedly involved too. But, the thing that they were focusing most on just on Lolita is fake. There's like 9-year-old, 10-year-old kids and stuff. 5-year-old kids who were getting raped. So it's really bad. But it's interesting because Woody also got accused of raping his stepdaughter. He was never prosecuted, but the woman who played the lead role in Rosemary's Baby was but anyway, there's really graphic audio of her talking to Woody and
Woody Allen, right?
Yeah, Woody Allen. I think this is one he is, and it's just so dark. These guys are total monsters. They should have been prosecuted. I mean, this is like so outrageous. It's just so sick. And that's why people have to see this as a network, and that's why so many people are falling globally, is because people are just realized after this release, you guys are all in on it. All the stories you said that was just Epstein was just a narrative, just like you said earlier, this whole narrative construction.
This is the conspiracy.
There he is. This guy, Harvey Fish, is here. If you keep going down, he's like an expert in urology. That's a picture of him. I think he's still around. He talks about sitting Shiva. That's a Jewish kind of religious thing. One of the interesting things, I think they're tied into more nefarious stuff. If you go down one more, he's talking to Epstein. He says, on plane. Then this guy, Harry Fish, who's talking about pizza and grape soda, says, I have a few great options. Special Forces, Secret Service, old retired cops. What do you need this thing for? What do you need options for Special Forces, Secret Service, or old retired cops?
To do a hit. They're talking about doing a hit.
I would say that would be my conclusion too. Something. Intimidation.
Muscle, right? All these represent, to me, muscle.
Yeah, muscle. Yeah.
And so they're saying, here's some muscle, and then yeah, what are we gonna
And
either intimidation or outright hit, something like this for sure.
right. Sam, look at the if you can move in there, look at the date above where Jeff says on plane. That's two. Can you read that? That's February 16, 2019.
Yeah,
So that's when
2
things are starting to heat up for him.
Mm.
Remember, he was like indicted, I think, by the FBI in late 2018, and that's when they bought the 655-gallon drums of hydrochloric acid to be shipped to the island. You ever hear that one?
Yes, and Bannon's. There was a news report of Bannon's Florida house had his bathtub burned up by looks like acid. Looks like looks like they were getting rid of evidence at Bannon's Florida home as well. If we connect all the dots together on this stuff.
Wow. That's right. I remember that story. This is interesting too, because this is from July 2025. And this seems to be an FBI file. And they're saying who's in the file? Donald Trump, Prince Andrew, Jess Staley, Leon Berlac, and Donald Trump. One identified victim claimed abuse by Trump, but ultimately refused to cooperate. So they had somebody who's claimed abuse. But if you're talking just like that earlier one, where it's Special Forces, Secret Service, old retired cops, like, are they walking around like it's yeah, like intimidating witnesses and stuff is illegal, I think.
Yeah, you would think.
Love to see Jeffrey. Want some jerky, some coffee or beef. Who wants to meet for coffee or beef jerky? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like a coffee and a croissant, maybe, or coffee or tea, or like these are all code words. Jerky, beef jerky, Jeffrey, 2014. Jen won't be here to make new one, but there's an old one in the freezer. Would you like to take it with you? An old one. Who talks to beef jerky as a one? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like there's some, like they never like specific. And why do you have to make it? Why can't you just buy it? Don't you just call up like one of these companies and buy jerky? Like I can go to Amazon and buy a pound of jerky and have it sent.
I can go down to my corner liquor store and buy some beef jerky. You know,
Costco, right, or wherever. Yeah. Sam's. This doesn't make sense. It's not. Doesn't comport with like normal things. Like what is this? Jen won't be here to make a new one, but there's an old one in the freezer. Would you like to take it with you? He always wants to take this stuff around with him. Come to Leon's building. Send jerky with her or have JoJo bring it. 2012. That's one more. Yeah, you're at that one. Francis says time to come tomorrow. Me how to make it. Jerky class, anyone?
They're turning human flesh into beef jerky and eating it, apparently.
That's what it seems like. It seems
if
like
you read between the lines, that's exactly what they're talking about here.
But the obsessive just doesn't like. I would say let's bring some snacks. Like if I go on a car trip, you know, or I'm driving somewhere or going to Arizona or I don't know. Guys, let's go to the store and get some snacks or something. Let's get jerky, chips, and some sparkling water or soda or something, you know. But they're just fixated on beef jerky. Over and over again. These guys, he also travels with a private chef, too. So it's Adam Perry Lang. Have you heard of that guy? He was one of them.
He was one of them, huh?
Yeah, that's the one for the 55-gallon drums.
Yeah, right there. And what do you do with that? You dispose of bodies by dissolving them in the sulfuric acid.
Right, so you have a cover, right? Oh, I just need it for St. Thomas. It's December 6th, 2018.
6 55-gallon drums of sulfuric acid.
That's all he wants. Maybe a pH cable or something. Like weird. Just wanted to touch base about jerky. Jay's going to start eating regular food again. So jerky isn't part of his regular food. Right?
Yeah, according to that.
Should be enough to get him through. Let me know. Francis Derby is a chef, by the way. That's the chef for Cannibal. That Cannibal company. We're talking about water treatment. Cream cheese is there. You know, cream cheese is in the next one. Cream cheese baby.
It's all a big joke. The restaurant's called Cannibal, and it really is a cannibal restaurant, and they just hide it in plain sight and write it off to you're crazy if you point out, no, they're making human jerky at Cannibal restaurant. Because
Look at that. Yeah, no, it's crazy. Look at this one that you're at right there. Look at that last statement. Read it. It's from J.E. Vacation. It's from Jeffrey Epstein.
There are millions of babies, very little good vegetable cream cheese. Wow.
Do you know what cream cheese supposedly is?
What's that code word?
There's another document in the Epstein files about George Bush eating entrails and stuff like that. Have you read that one?
That was one of the alleged reports to the FBI, right?
Yeah.
And that's how they write it off, as they're like, oh, that was just a crazy person calling in.
So there was this type of cream cheese in Italy that I can't remember now. But what they would do is take a baby goat, and the baby goat would be suckling its mom, So that milk would come in and go to the intestines, and then they would kill the goat and get the stuff out of the intestines and save it. So that would be some kind of Italian word. And so what some people have said, I don't know if this is real, it's unbelievable, but that is the same thing that they're doing to babies. They're taking the intestines with the fresh breast milk and then turning it into cheese and eating it.
How about adrenochrome?
Hasn't come. I don't know. I haven't looked for it. These people, I think they're cannibals, dude. I really do. Like, I'm not kidding. Bring cream cheese to school party. Okay. What school are you at? You don't have kids.
They have a restaurant called Cannibal, called the Cannibal.
Cream cheese baby. Like, what is this? Does that mean you have a baby that's ready for cream cheese? Sorry about today. With the vegetable cream cheese, we are even. What? Who trades in vegetable cream cheese?
Just wanted to touch base about the jerky. They're obsessed with the jerky. Cannibal cult here.
Yeah. We can try to go through some of the Eyes Wide Shut. The parallels between this whole thing and Eyes Wide Shut are really just off the charts. It's almost like it's like a retread of Eyes Wide Shut.
What about the idea? Have you seen the reports out there that they didn't allow the final cut to be released of Eyes Wide Shut, and it was them, Tom Cruise and Kidman, selling their kid to a pedophile cult at the end of it?
Well, it may not be overt, but in the cut that I saw, that child Helena, right? So it's Alice's. What's her name? The woman. What's the name of the woman actress? Not Cruise. Anyway, Helena's the mother. No, Helena's the daughter, and Alice is the mother. And Helena walks.
Nicole Kidman, right?
Yes, sorry, I just know Nicole Kidman. The daughter walks off with the two guys from the very beginning when they go into the mansion. So it's implied that that daughter's part of the cult. She's being taken away to be raped or pedophile or whatever. And then they say, let's go have sex again. So they're going to repeat the process. So they're part of the whole system. And the whole intro is like insinuating that Alice is one of the sex slaves in the ritual, because it starts off with her dropping her negligee, right? And that's what happens to the girls in the ritual. They stand up and they drop their cloaks or whatever. So I think that's what he's saying, is that everybody's eyes wide shut to these weird things that are going on with the elite. And it really is happening, because the eyes wide shut is real, because there's a whole part of the population who has no idea of what's going on with the Epstein files. Their eyes are wide shut. And this is I took this scene from like this one scene in True Detective where they got this child ritual abuse element, and I put the Epstein files over the TV for that. But it has that same feel, because I do think there's probably some ritual abuse we just haven't seen yet.
These are the three in the conversation about the children.
Yeah, talking about kids, sex slaves. They took their passports away. I mean, it's just like, it's almost too much. Like, it's just like so freaking bad.
I've been reporting on it since it came out. I'm telling you, it makes me want to throw up after after reporting probably a good hour a day about all the different emails, it's just.
I got to have you on my show. You can tell me the stuff I don't know, because some of the stuff you're referencing, I don't know. This woman's interesting because she was literally in Eyes Wide Shut with Kubrick, and she's in the files.
Wow.
She's in the files. I think her name is Mortimer or something.
Mortimer.
But if you scroll down, I'm trying to find my version of that PDF.
London House.
Yeah, meet Mortimer. Brings Lola to London House after a career in Model T. Mortimer worked with Stanley Kubrick on Eyes Wide Shut. It says right there.
There you go. Man, oh man.
And then she's talking about it. She's talking to somebody's friend, like Peter Mandelson. She's telling her life story. I was with an elite model agency and traveled the world and became a TV presenter. Then various movies, only small parts. Though last movie I did was Stanley Kubrick's Eyes Wide Shut.
Wow.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? She's literally in Eyes Wide Shut. I don't know what happened at the end of Eyes Wide Shut, to be honest with you. I don't have a solution, like, you know, what, you know, whether he was killed or whatever. I don't know.
More on the Zodiac here.
Yeah, sorry. Some of these overlap. I apologize. This doesn't. This is from a court case that shows how vast the trafficking was. Do you want to read those highlighted?
Sure. Each time they would travel to one of these destinations, the same pattern of sexual abuse would occur, often with a vast array of aspiring models, actresses, celebrities, and or other females, including minors from all over the world. Upon information and belief, defendant transported minor girls from Turkey, the Czech Republic, Asia, and numerous other countries, many of whom spoke no English. To plaintiff's knowledge, the only female specifically excluded from defendants' sexual escapades were African Americans. So
it just shows how vast. Like, people are saying, "Oh, they just got it from girls here in the United States." No, they were in a massive international trafficking ring.
Wow. And they didn't like the blacks.
Didn't like the blacks. They called them black shrimp. So there's like little hints, like, don't bring the black shrimp. We only like white shrimp. Like, who asked for white shrimp? They just asked for shrimp. There's Nicole Kidman. She's occulting this thing. And then you could go to Melania's website right now, Sam, and you can buy the Star of Ishtar.
Wow.
At Melania Trump's website. Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Because they're occultists too.
I think they're occultists. Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. Trump's a dark occultist casting spells on.
Just like Abramovich said, right?
Indeed.
Sorry, go ahead.
I'm just saying, once you see it, you can't unsee it. And it still has his MAGA base brainwashed, essentially, through his spell casting.
You know, George Bush Sr. did the same thing. He really was able to get the Christians on his side in some odd way, you know. And I think they subvert the Christians, much like if you see True Detective, Tuttle is the reverend there, where they have the scene with like a literal neon Bible. I mean, sorry, a neon cross. But like, he's the one that Matthew McConaughey's character finds this ritual abuse stuff in his safe. And there's safes at Jeffrey Epstein stuff. But it turns out Tuttle's one of the big characters in this abuse ring that he's the true detective for. And it's almost like the Christian church is like that too. I posted something on my ex Twitter account of like McConaughey in the film, like looking at Tuttle like, wow, that's the way I feel looking at the Christian church, because they're not saying much about this whole thing. It's like rank and file, just normal Christian people are angry about it, but you'd think the Pope would come out and say, guys, this is really bad, you know, this is like
Well,
old Canaanite stuff.
they got their own whole abuse, right, going on there at the Catholic Church. And so
They sure do. They had a huge, I mean, I don't know, they're trying to remedy it, but it was endemic, the abuse of like almost every parish had abuse, and then they move them around. Like there was one of the, I think it was the one pope from Germany. I can't remember his name, but he was in the, he made it to pope, but before he was pope, his job was to move all the abusing priests around to different parishes, and they got caught. And then they just paid him off millions of dollars. I mean, that's how powerful the Catholic Church is they had enough billions of dollars to like pay off all the secret plaintiffs. And it's sorry, I've been talking all day. It's actually very similar to this kind of case of Epstein, where there's like a lot of this litigation documentation that I went through a little bit earlier today, that all would have been private, right? Attorney-client stuff. So a lot of that stuff never would have made it to the public, but it's come to the public now. Like they did a lot of work. A lot of these like private, great law firms, like first-tier law firms and first-tier lawyers did a lot of great work that the public can now see. And that's what happened. If you remember the movie Spotlight and some of the stuff, it never was in the surface. The Catholic Church covered it up, for decades.
they're still settling suits. I believe the deadline was just like last week here in California, because I remember reporting on it on a bunch of out of LA, in my area here in Fresno, Central Valley area, where the Catholic Church said, we're putting a deadline and nobody can file or make a claim after it, and we're paying out a bunch of these abuse victims.
My understanding is the total payouts for Jeffrey Epstein's abuse already are $800 million from the network. And there's another case in here, which I should just do an own show about it, is the U.S. Virgin Island case, because they brought suit. And some of the payouts were in the hundreds of millions of dollars by these rich guys.
You want to go back to the Eyes Wide Shut document?
Yeah. One of the interesting things about this is like at the end of Eyes Wide Shut, this is where the little girl Helena disappears. She walks off with the two older people, but on the bottom left-hand side, you can see something called the Magic Circle, and that's a game board, but that's actually a real thing. There's actually a Magic Circle group coming out of the city of London, of all places, that King Charles was a part of. And that organization also contained people, what I believe, who are in the Epstein network. David Copperfield and David Blaine, they're almost household names.
These magicians are using hypnosis as a part of their mind control operation.
No question about it. I can bring something up. I'll show you this. They're very sophisticated, and I think that's what's being related in these things as we kind of go through more and more documents. But they can get this. If I can just show this other document for you. Do you mind switching over to this other document I pulled up? This is EFTA 00907010. It's from 2018, and it's from some guy named Gino Yu. Do you feel like reading that top paragraph?
Sure. It's kind of small, though.
Okay,
I can read it. There you go. I am embarrassed and was about to write you, and it popped up. She is classic stage 3 in the model. Outlier who is intelligent, was traumatized when she was young, sex abuse, and now gradually coming into her own and becoming self-realized, can share our text interactions with her permission, starting to develop special abilities. Yeah, this is where I was talking about. Looks like many in this network are victims and abusers. Yes. And I think this is how they develop them, through their different personas created through the trauma-based, fear-based mind control programming.
Exactly. I agree with you 100%.
That's what
if you continue reading, it gets worse. Like, it's more interesting because they have sophisticated
What do you
understanding.
think about starting to develop special abilities? Do you think they really are trying to develop people with psychic abilities through this trauma?
Perhaps. I don't know the totality. I know they've done it in other circumstances. I don't know if that's the case in Jeffrey Epstein's, but in other circumstances, they are like they're special couriers and people with amnesia. So they may be tinkering around.
Assassins, right? The
Yeah.
Manchurian Candidate, right?
Yes, sir. So I think it's just this is really incredible. This is 2018. It's not that long ago. This is way after what happened in 2007 and 8. But it's also like you can just read through some of this stuff. Like in London, I met with a group that leverages iboga and spiritual traditions from Gabon to offer this alternate paradigms. Like they're tinkering, like the CIA and a lot of these secret societies have these cover groups. Even the Magic Circle is kind of a cover group. Like, oh, we're just fun magicians, and then you get there and you realize, oh, we're teaching hypnosis and mind control and stuff. Like well, that's what we do. But
And the neuro linguistic programming.
yeah. Let me bring up the NLP document too, which is really credit. But just this one first thing, I'm in Paris, classic stage 3 in the model. So he's talking about some kind of model, That means they have a model. It's not verified what is stage 3 in this. Let's see. I haven't found that document yet, but the outliers can tell she's traumatized. So it's trauma-based mind control through sexual abuse. It's like, wow, this is really intense.
That's it. That's MKUltra.
Yeah, and then I have another one where it's Epstein is counseling Bannon about NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, which is a very sophisticated. Some of these techniques you just don't learn it unless you go out and do it. Like you wouldn't go to like a bar and chat about it with your friends, But like you can like learn about it here. Like if you can.
This is like high-level international spy stuff.
Yeah. So if you go down, so this date is, it really is almost 2018, 9/20. It's fairly recent. First, they bitch about Musk. They talk crap about him. They say here, Musk believed and is a victim of Arab bluster bloviating and is now sued by the SEC for trusting these guys. Bannon says he should not be running a public company. And then Epstein says, agreed. And then they're talking later, if you go down to this page, this is EFTA 016153373. You can get this document. But yeah, do you feel like reading from the top? Do you see the mayor?
Yeah, I could see it. Did you see the Maher show, Bill Maher show, right, on HBO? Right, yeah. It says, yes, well done. I think Bannon was on there, right? Only 1 5-minute round, not enough. I think your thoughts should be posed as questions rather than declarative statements, i.e., are you aware that Trump has added 10 trillion in value? Isn't it a fact that, would you admit that like that? It encourages the audience that instinctively rejects pronouncements. When he said he got the market direction wrong, you might respectively ask, didn't you also get it wrong? And wouldn't you admit that your confident predictions regarding the election itself was way off the mark? So do you think your ability to predict has gotten better? More cross-examination than direct testimony? What is your schedule today? Just got off the plane, trying to sort my shed, but coming back into the city this afternoon. What's your schedule?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, here's the thing. What Epstein is telling Bannon is that these questions put ideas into people's heads. So isn't it a fact? Like, so the question, it's a fact that it's like you're saying it's a fact. So if the person responds, they agree to that the fact is true, right? So it's called a presuppositional fact question, and they embed assumptions if they're accepted as facts. Here, this is what AI told me about this. Let's bring this up.
Yeah, makes sense.
It's this one. Maybe you can bring that up. I'll read it. Presuppositional questions. These embed assumptions if they're already accepted facts, making the listener more likely to internalize them subconsciously. Examples from the chat. Are you aware that Trump has added 10 trillion in value? Presupposes the 10 trillion claim is true. It shifts focus to awareness rather than debate. So, like you're saying, aren't you aware? Of course I'm aware. Why wouldn't I? You know what I mean? Isn't it a fact? Presupposes it's undeniably factual. Would you admit? Presupposes there's something to it. These are all techniques. Pacing and leading. The responder starts by pacing to build trust, then leads into influence. I think your thoughts should be posed as questions rather than declarative statements. Engagements through embedded commands. Phrases like, wouldn't you admit, do you think, are indirect commands disguised as questions, encouraging the listener to mentally affirm the idea. It's a classic Milton model pattern. Didn't we just talk about models? She was a Model 3, right? Named after hypnotherapist Milton Erickson, a big influence on NLP founders Bandler and Grinder. This is hypnosis. This is not like the obvious hypnosis where you like, you know, I have a watch and I want you to look at the watch and count down after 10. This is like something people can do, a technique where they get ideas into people's head without them knowing it. And that's the whole thing through these presuppositional questions. So that's what Epstein is telling him, kind of like a Dr. Mesmer.
Like a wizard.
You see that, yeah, it's really something else. I mean, these documents are just off the charts. I know we're at the 2-hour mark. I think my voice is pretty raspy.
Before we let you go, William, let's cover that flower that paralyzes you. That came out too, right?
Yeah. Is that in my
I think I did see it, but I do have it. If you don't have it, I have it here quickly.
The bell flower, whatever it's called, the trumpet flower.
Where is it here now? I remember seeing that one, and I was like, well, that's what they're using. Here it is.
It's a 37 PDF is number 37.
Angel's trumpet. Here's that flower.
Yes, there it is.
And this allegedly ask Chris about my trumpet plants at nursery, and you can use this to wipe people's memory. It's being reported, and to incapacitate them. The drug wipes memory and makes victims completely compliant.
Right, and you mentioned MKUltra. They used it in MKUltra. The kind of drug that they synthesize is called scopolamine. It's kind of like pharmaceutical name, scopolamine. But they use it in Colombia. You can actually see, like, go to YouTube and type in trumpet plant, and they'll show you dudes who've been like, I woke up 3 days later, all my money was gone. You know, this happens. So these prostitutes will do like drug these guys and take all their money. But it's interesting. It just shows like this wizard thing, this theme that you're talking about, how it's Epstein knew all this stuff, you know.
Devil's breath. Only an international spy would know all of this type of stuff, because these are tools of the trade.
Right. That's so well said. Do you know what's really interesting? Is I just posted on my social media Ghislaine Maxwell in Colombia. So she was training with the Colombian army, and that's the epicenter of where the trumpet, scopolamine is. Scopolamine. We have to do another show. You should come on my show and we'll talk, and you can teach me all the stuff you know, and you can restream it back to your stuff too.
All right, William, you've held in there with us for 2 hours.
My voice, I've talked too much this week, but it's great to be with you. Thanks for the invite. Thanks for having me back.
Here's again, everybody go follow William on X there. You can see it at the bottom of the screen at William Ramsey in on the X. Follow me at Weaponized News. As always, everybody do your own research. peace, love, and freedom. Speak out and take action. Have a great rest of your Tuesday evening. And we'll be back here on Wednesday for more Weaponized News. Thank you again, William Ramsey. Everybody go check out his great work. And
Thank you so much.
till next time, have a great rest of your evening.